2011 15-inch MacBook Pro CPU heatsink replacement. Please note that the CPU heatsink is located underneath the logic board, so the logic board will have to be removed. Remove 7 Phillips head screws starting in the top left corner and going around the contour of the MacBook. These are the shorter screws. Now remove the 3 long Phillips head screws. Those 10 screws will release the cover. Go ahead and lift it and remove it. Disconnect the battery before we begin. Logic board removal. Remove 3 T6 screws that are securing the right fan. You can unscrew them but leave them in place. This will make it easier to track them. Lift the fan and disconnect it from the logic board. Remove the 3 T6 screws securing the left fan. Again, leave them in place. Lift up the fan and disconnect it from the logic board. Remove the 2 Phillips head screws securing the keyboard guard. Lift up and remove the guard. Inspect 11 connections going around the contour of the logic board. Familiarize yourself with them. Disconnect the LVDS cable first. Lift up the lever and slide it out of the socket. Be careful when making this disconnection. Now disconnect the keyboard backlight. Lift up the lever and pull out the connection. Disconnect the iSight camera. Disconnect the Wi-Fi cable. Disconnect the DVD drive. Disconnect the right speaker. Disconnect the hard drive cable. Disconnect the trackpad. Lift up the lever and disconnect the keyboard connection. Disconnect the battery life indicator. Inspect and find the 7 logic board T6 screws. Remove the 7 T6 screws. Pry out the logic board at an angle, left side up first. Be careful, the microphone might still be connected and you'll have to pry that apart. Disconnect the DC inboard. CPU heatsink removal. Locate and remove the 6 Phillips head screws securing the heatsink. Lift up and remove the heatsink. Flip it over and clean the heatsink with a cloth. Make sure that there is no thermal compound left. Clean the CPU and the GPU dies. In this video, this is a demonstration. Please clean the dies thoroughly. CPU heatsink installation. Apply no more than 2 drops of thermal compound per die. You can smear the first drop. Place the heatsink. Secure 1 top and 1 bottom Phillips head screw first. This will allow the heatsink to stay in place when you secure the other 4 screws. You can now install the remaining 4 screws. Logic board installation. Connect the DC in board to the logic board. Insert the logic board in at an angle, right side in first, and drop it in. Make sure to move as many cables as you can out of the way. It's okay, we'll be prying all these cables out. Pry out any trap cables now. Go over all the connections. You should have 11 connections exposed in total. Install the 7 T6 screws to secure the logic board in place. Connect the keyboard backlight. Push it into its socket and then click down on the locking lever. Connect the eyesight camera. Connect the Wi-Fi cable. Connect the DVD drive. Connect the right speaker. Connect the hard drive SATA cable. Connect the trackpad. Connect the keyboard. Make sure that the lever is up when you pry this into the socket. This is one of the most hardest connections to make. Make sure you're gentle with this and don't damage the ribbon cable. Once it's pried in all the way, go ahead and lock in the locking lever. Connect the battery life indicator. Lastly, connect the LVDS cable. Be gentle when making this connection. You can damage the socket. Take your time. Once it's locked in all the way, go ahead and lock the locking mechanism. Install the right fan. Secure the 3 T6 screws connected to the logic board. Install the left fan. Secure the 3 T6 screws connected to the logic board as well. Install the keyboard guard cover. Attach the 2 Phillips head screws. Reconnect the battery. Place the cover back. Install the 3 long Phillips head screws first, starting in the top right corner, going left. Now install the 7 short Phillips head screws, starting in the top left corner and going around the contour of the MacBook.